Well, hello there, everyone. Here, show you right here is like the conversations word. Yeah, is that basically that talks about right here that I'm sure most of us have had these conversations talking about is to where that you start talking about something and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, well I'm sure, or something like that. You start talking about something and sometimes you're like Warren to where that whenever people say yeah. Like yeah, yeah, that might mean something such as to where that yeah, number of things it can maybe mean to where I heard you, and then I think that a lot of times that the people more likely are whenever they answer to yeah, or they get the idea, or they they heard you, or you are correct, but if we're going to be getting into a conversation, let's just say about maybe about something about maybe that somebody else knows and knowing about what they're aware of and is anything about possibilities or anything like that. And a lot of times it seems like to where that yeah that that whenever we say yeah that other than if we prefer the maybe the word whatever, I'm like if we may say something like whatever a lot of times, or okay whatever, whatever. I'm like, but I guess you could probably say, yeah, that's usually the word to say is to where yeah, if it's like for greetings, or that well, yep, I heard you. Well, that whatever, whatever you say, but on average to her, anybody that more likely is going to say whenever you get into a conversation, and then it's like that a few words that you do say could be, it's like, well, hey, that okay, whatever you say, whatever, never mind, or anything like that. But whenever we get into a conversation and then somebody says yeah, a lot of times, like yeah, 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 yeah. But on the other hand, I guess usually that may mean it's like the way of showing to where that they are willing to talk to other people, and as well as getting some ideas, and like yeah, I heard you, I know what you mean. So if this was like maybe a job interview, then that somebody asks you a question, and then sometimes that you may reply, first thing you may reply to is like, yeah, well, here's, yeah, well, we'll see. So sometimes if we want to study our English language, knowing about a lot of the responses either should include the words well, because, or there as, or that the situation is, or something like that, or yeah, the reason is. But we weren't to where that whenever people say yeah, does that usually mean is to where that you are correct, or or I heard you, or I seen it, or something like that. So whenever we're talking to somebody, and then they're going to be saying yeah a lot of times, and usually that you ask a question, and sometimes that and then on your hand too, anybody that may warrant, whereas it come to an agreement to where that you start talking to somebody about something, and yeah, I guess that they're going to say yeah. I'm like, well, do you agree, or do you accept, or if you don't accept? So I guess there's a number of ways of how to say yeah, or such as you know, uh, you're welcome, or anything like that. But let's just say on the average, to where that yeah basically means is to where that yeah, your mind is kind of wandering. Your mind is kind of wandering in your head. You're kind of getting that conversation to where you're like, well, I'm listening. Yeah, well, I'm listening to what you're saying, but so some that may want to just say yeah, other than to where like whatever. Oh, okay, okay, whatever. But I guess the way you say it, almost like as to where that you might say, just to show kindness, that usually people usually say, yeah, just like it's not really about you are correct, but other than that, that like, well, that they heard you, or just to show kindness is like, which cause like a short conversation to where somebody's telling you something and then you tell them something else and they're like, yeah, whatever, or okay, I don't know who told you that or something like that, but anyway, there may be a number of ways of how we can say yeah, but on your hand, that you're like warning to her that, well, if you're just gonna say yeah all the time, and then that warning to her, are you even listening to what I'm saying? Like, hey, yeah. It's like, yeah. So anybody that may warn to her, if you say yeah too many times, and then people may think that. You're just like, oh, okay, whatever. If you're in the days, whichever. But anyway, but on your hand, that the way I think about it, though, is like really, if the question goes by as to where do people answer the word yeah just because I'm like that you are correct about something, or it's like if they heard you. And I'm thinking more likely it would probably be right here. It's like anybody that may say like, yeah, like you'll pick a if you want to pick a color here, and that like Warren to where, yeah, that you go ahead and see pick a kind of like, well, yep, we heard you. So I think really a lot of times anybody like Warren to where that's usually what it means. They may say, yeah, like I seen it, or they may say something like, yeah, I was there. So they may say something like, yep, I was there. I was at the meeting. Were you at the meeting on Thursday night? Yeah, like an, uh, like yeah, like an well, like what? Like a yes, I was at the meeting, but no, I mean like I got a little bit of an idea for what they were talking about, but then they ask you something else, so it seems like anybody that may think about us to where the yeah may have, and then that's another thing too. How many times do we use the word yeah out of a year? So they're like one to YEAH as well as for yeah, like an yeah. But hey, it kind of reminds me of that song, like oh yeah, like a oh yeah 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 yeah, like a song like a one of those songs. But anyway, but the way that people say yeah, the way I think about it, though is that yeah, that just like some type of way to be friendly to the other person whenever you're talking to them. I guess it's basically to where that sometimes whenever we have those conversations with people, do we think that more likely do we think that we really need to talk about as to where if somebody has a disagreement about something, you start talking about something, and then somebody were to disagree, that they want to start talking about something negative, and you're like Warren to where how you handle situations like that, to where that the word is not yeah, but nah. They're gonna say nah. So the word it maybe not yeah, but the word is gonna be nah. So nah, I guess how that's spelled. If it's spelled like this right here, a little bit the opposite other than yeah, it's gonna be nah. So everybody say that nah. Right there, and the H right there. But anyway, but so far as between yeah and nah, anybody that may want, you may, like the way people may say this, like yes, but in the A and the H, you're kind of like saying hum. I'll have to think about that. Or I'm thinking. So there may be a number of ways of expressing about the voice, about conversations as to where that maybe the answer is not really what you call yes, but then the answer is more likely going to be yeah, or kinda, or maybe, but down here too, nah. So you're like wanting to where that hey, nay, or bay, or this is what's the conversation, or what you call is like the conversation of the day or something like that. But on the hand too, that the conversations that we do have with other people, we weren't, or that, yeah, you start talking about them, and then you start talking with them and about something, and it's like, sometimes that, you're like, where to where some people use the word yeah, such as that, they don't really want to argue about it. And sometimes it's like, yeah, well, people may think that, well, you can't really put any words in that person's mouth, such as if you got in a disagreement about it, unless if you think it's necessary, huh? But on the other hand, that I'm like, well, really, it seems like everybody's going to have their own opinion. But then, on the other hand, that you start talking about something, and somebody starts talking to you about maybe something about maybe sports or any events or anything like that, and sometimes the answers are not really such that, you start talking about something, and then they're like, yeah, well, I'm like, yeah, well, oh yeah, well, I'm like, well, but oh yeah, well, oh no, well, kind of, yeah, and they're like, yeah, like you just don't know how to begin the conversation, or maybe how to end the conversation, or if it's just like, you're just trying to think, I'm like, I'm trying to think here, so really that. Say for conversation word yeah could maybe mean a number of things, but the way I think about it, though, is basically means is to where that the person heard you, and then on the other hand too, they're just trying to make which these conversations with one another. So other than that, I talk about here, say for conversations yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make 25.